Good evening. Welcome to the news on Rupavahini.
A very good evening indeed. I'm Nitya Chandra.
Manoj Hettiarachi, President Mahinda Rajapaksa says that Sri Lanka has accorded priority to renew old friendships with Africa. It has become the new focus of Sri Lanka's foreign policy. He revealed that this policy started for the first time in 2005 when he assumed Sri Lankan presidency. President Rajapaksa made this disclosure during bilateral talks with Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta yesterday. The Sri Lankan president was on a 4-day official tour of Kenya. A guard of honor was accorded to welcome President Mahinda Rajapaksa at the Nairobi State Palace. The Kenyan leader noted that it was a great honor for him to welcome the first head of state of Sri Lanka to visit Kenya. He added that the Sri Lankan president's tour was an excellent evidence to prove the everlasting friendship between the two countries. President Rajapaksa expressed his grief to the Kenyan leader on the terrorist attack in Nairobi and the recent fire that erupted in Jomo Kenyatta Airport. Terrorism in any form cannot be endorsed, the Sri Lankan president said, adding that it is essential to act along with the global community to combat the menace. The two leaders paid their special attention on promoting South-South cooperation. President Rajapaksa expressed his happiness on Sri Lanka's economic ties with African countries in the recent era and the expansion of trade and investment. President Kenyatta noted that the needs of the people could be fulfilled as their voices have been raised high through South-South cooperation. He also lauded the progress achieved by Sri Lanka after defeating tiger terrorism. He praised Sri Lanka's decision to host the Commonwealth Summit and the measures taken towards equality, justice and participation in the sustainable development attempt. Minister Professor G.L. Peiris, Deputy Minister Geethanjana Gunawardena, Uba Province Chief Minister Shashindra Rajapaksa, Foreign Ministry Supervisory MP Sajantivas Gunawardena and the Presidential Secretary Lalit Virutunga were present during the bilateral talks.
Several experts and analysts say that President Mahinda Rajapaksa's 4-day official tour of Kenya will bring several benefits in socio-economic, cultural and other fields. The President is scheduled to return to the island tonight after ending his successful Kenyan tour. President Rajapaksa paid his last respects to former South African President, the late Nelson Mandela. He also participated in the main mass conducted on behalf of Mr. Mandela at FNB Stadium in Johannesburg last Tuesday. Over 100 heads of state were present. President Mahinda Rajapaksa paid his last respects to the late Mr. Nelson Mandela at the Union Building in Pretoria last Wednesday. South African media reported that the Sri Lankan president was among the heads of states who paid their last respects to the late leader. President Mahinda Rajapaksa also held cordial discussions with the heads of states. The Sri Lankan president started his 4-day official tour in Kenya after the end of his visit in South Africa. He arrived at the Jomo Kenyatta Airport last Thursday. This was his second visit to Kenya. The Sri Lankan delegation headed by President Mahinda Rajapaksa was greeted by the Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta, Deputy President William Ruto and several cabinet ministers at the airport. A guard of honor was accorded on behalf of the President. First Lady Madam Shuranti Rajapaksa, Minister Professor G.L. Peiris, Deputy Minister Geethanjana Gunawardena, Uba Province Chief Minister Shashindra Rajapaksa, Foreign Minister Supervisor MP Sajantivas Gunawardena and Presidential Secretary Lalit Virutunga accompanied the President during his tour. President Mahinda Rajapaksa and First Lady Madam Shuranti Rajapaksa were the special guests at the Golden Jubilee ceremony of Kenya's Independence Day. The ceremony was held at the Moi International Stadium in the city of Kasarani, Nairobi, with the attendance of several African heads of states. President Rajapaksa paid floral tributes to the first president of Kenya at the Jomo Kenyatta Memorial. Deputy Kenyan President William Ruto accompanied the president during his visit to the memorial at the parliamentary premises in Nairobi. Jomo Kenyatta is hailed as the father of Kenya for his great services rendered to the country. President Rajapaksa paid an observation visit to the UN office in Nairobi. Director General Saleh Worksuit briefed the visiting Sri Lankan President on the start of the headquarters and its task. He also had cordial talks on the Executive Director of the UN Environment Programme, Asim Sena. He lauded Sri Lanka's services in building a green economy. President Rajapaksa planted an African rubber tree at the UN office premises. He presented a painting of a Kandi Esalaperahara to the UN African office. 8 memorandums of understandings and agreements were signed between Sri Lanka and Kenya during President Rajapaksa's tour. Leaders of the two countries have placed their signatures at the Nairobi State Palace. These agreements were relating to tourism, culture and sports fields, as well as providing free visas to foreign passport holders and commerce and technology sectors. President Rajapaksa paid homage at a Buddhist temple in Nairobi. The president exchanged pleasantries with several Sri Lankans living in Kenya who visited the temple to greet him. The Kenyan president has hosted a special dinner in honor of visiting Sri Lankan President Mahinda Rajapaksa at Kenyan State Palace last Friday. Proposing the toast, President Uhuru Kenyatta noted that Sri Lanka has fulfilled almost all Millennium Goals on the directions of President Rajapaksa. President Rajapaksa noted that Sri Lanka and Kenya share a great ancient civilization and both countries have many similarities. He expressed the hope that relations between the two countries will be further strengthened in future. Presidential Media Coordinating Secretary Vijayananda Hera told Rupavahini that President Rajapaksa's tour of Kenya will help to move Sri Lanka and South African cooperation to its new vistas. He added that the president's visit will go down in history as the first official tour of Kenya by a head of state of Sri Lanka. Kenya is to be appointed to the presidency of the Eastern African Alliance. Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta has focused attention on building socio-economic relations between Eastern African Alliance and Sri Lanka. President Mahinda Rajapaksa is in the process of building relations with countries like Uganda, Tanzania and Kenya, which are among the 5 member countries of the Eastern African Alliance. He has already entered into socio-economic and trade agreements with these countries. There is a possibility of establishing relations between Sri Lanka and member countries of the African Association, Eastern African Alliance, Eastern Northern African Common Market Alliance. This is a positive strength for Sri Lanka in economic and foreign relations, he said.
A political conspiracy being implemented at regional level to destabilize the government has been revealed. Political sources noted that the defeating of the budget in several local government institutions may be a preliminary step of this conspiracy. Local and foreign conspiracies reported in the recent past were aimed at destabilizing the present government headed by the president. Political analysts say that certain incidents targeting regional political powers could be results of these attempts. All these attempts ended in failure. The aim of the conspirators is to topple the government's political stability. It is the objective of the opposition and the conspirators to weaken the political power of the government at regional level. However, the opposition and the forces of conspiracy have understood that it is very difficult to destabilize the government, which has a 2/3 majority and a far-sighted political vision. Stalwarts of the UPFA and SLFP were in suspicion as to whether certain groups were acting to fulfill their personal needs. There was another suspicion that it could be an attempt to disrupt the government's future programs. The party leadership has decided to take stern disciplinary action against any groups or persons who take action with such objectives. Senior members of the UPFA and SLFP reiterated that their responsibility is to protect the party, shedding petty objectives.
Well, the Sri Pada pilgrimage season begins tomorrow. Devotees are to visit Sri Pada during the period commencing from Unduap Full Moon Poya Day to Vesak Full Moon Poya Day next year. The procession carrying the casket of relics, statue of God Saman and jewellery of the deity proceeded to the Udamalua at Sri Pada from Sri Pada Raj Mahaviharya in Galpottavala this morning. Lord Buddha, who arrived in Kalani in the 8th year of Buddhahood, visited Sri Pada on the invitation of God Sumana Saman. According to Buddha Sasana history, the Lord Buddha has placed his footprint on the blue gemstone. This was confirmed in the Mahavansa written during the 5th century, as well as the Elimale and Ambagama were stone inscriptions. According to Mahavansa, the King Vijay Bahu I had made Sripada pilgrimage for the first time, and he was followed by King Mahaparakram Bahu and King Nisankamalla. The upper section of the Sripada called Udamalu was reconstructed in 1885 to enable devotees to pay homage. The casket of relics, statue of God Saman and jewellery of the deity were brought out from the shrine room at the auspicious time of 7:31 p.m. yesterday. Devotees have been given an opportunity to pay their homage from 4 a.m. Later, the procession carrying the casket of relics and jewellery of the deity reached Ratnapura town this afternoon. The procession was divided into two and will arrive at Sripada via Palabadala and Ginigathena Hatton. The chief priest of the Sripada temple, the Venerable Bengamu Edammadinathera, appealed to devotees to clad in white during the Sripada pilgrimage and to conduct themselves in a disciplined and environmental-friendly manner.
With military pomp and traditional rituals, South Africa bade farewell to their late leader, Nelson Mandela, who rendered an exceptional service towards the liberation of South African people and the transformation of the nation. He was buried at his ancestral home village, Kunu, today. Nelson Mandela passed away due to a lung infection at the age of 95 at a Pretoria hospital on the 5th of this month. He is hailed as the father of anti-apartheid struggle in South Africa. He was imprisoned for 27 years in Reuben Island for fighting for the rights of black nationals. He was elected as the first black national president of South Africa in 1994. He is also hailed as the father of the South African nation. Nobel Peace Laureate Mandela resigned from the post of president after the end of his first presidency. After that, he was engaged in social service. A special funeral ceremony of the late Nelson Mandela was held at Kunu today. Over 4,000 local and foreign dignitaries, along with Britain's Crown Prince Charles and several presidents, attended the performance of final rites of Nelson Mandela. South African President Jacob Zuma delivered the funeral oration. The body of the late leader Nelson Mandela was buried at his family burial grounds in Kunu amidst military pomp and traditional rituals. Members of the Mandela family and close friends were present. World leaders lauded the excellent service rendered by Mandela to eliminate Calabar in South Africa and to restore peace. The body of the late Nelson Mandela was taken to the family burial grounds in Kunu amidst the guard of honor accorded by the South African military forces. A gun salute was also accorded in honor of the late leader. The memory of the populist leader will remain forever in the minds of the people the world over.
Well, international media reports reveal that Sri Lanka has achieved the expected targets by hosting Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting. These reports highlighted that the island nation has depicted its resources and skills to the whole world with great dignity. The Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting held in November in Colombo was organized in an Asian country after 2 decades. Diplomatic representatives of 53 countries participated in the summit. International media reports revealed that these foreign representatives were given the opportunity to experience the free and peaceful atmosphere in Sri Lanka during the summit period. Another objective of Sri Lanka is to attract more foreign investments. Several Chinese businessmen have expressed their willingness to launch large-scale projects in the island after the summit. International media pointed out that it has established the success of the summit, although certain heads of state have acted towards boycotting it.
Those of you who were present yesterday will...
A delegation of a popular Chinese television channel is now in the island with the aim of producing documentary programs and a series of advertisements on Sri Lanka free of charge and telecast them in China. The Travel Channel television crew has selected Sri Lanka as the one and only country to give their publicity free of charge in 2014. Representatives of the Chinese television channel signed the relevant agreement in Colombo yesterday on tourism promotion programs and series of advertisements to be produced and telecast on the beauty of the island nation. Sri Lanka Tourism Promotion Bureau is one of the signatories. The Deputy Ambassador of China in Sri Lanka, Renfa Ching, and the Chairman of the Sri Lanka Tourism Bureau, Bashwara Senaka Gunaratna, graced the occasion. According to the agreement, 2,500 short advertisements on Sri Lanka's beauty are to be produced during the period 1st to the 31st of January. Special documentary programs, interviews and tourism news will be telecast over the Chinese channel. The value of the publicity program is over 2.8 billion rupees. The travel channel is a popular television channel in China with an audience of over 650 million people. These programs are to be popularized over 6 websites belonging to the Chinese TV channel for the benefit of their internet viewers, numbering over 350 million. A 13-member Chinese delegation will be in Sri Lanka for 7 days. They will film attractive places in Colombo, Negombo, Pinnavala, Kandy, Sigiriya, Nuwara, Galle, Anuradhapura, Polonnaruwa, Ratnapura and several other tourist destinations. The official flight sponsor, the Sri Lankan Airlines, will also get free advertising opportunities through these programs. The Chinese television crew was brought down to Sri Lanka on the directions of Economic Development Minister Basil Rajapaksa. The Sri Lanka Tourism Bureau and the Sri Lankan Embassy in China were instrumental in arranging the visit. A 3-day joint promotion program held in Beijing, China in August this year was a precursor to this initiative. The next phase of this program will be held in Shanghai early next year. The Sri Lanka Tourism Promotion Bureau plans to participate in 5 leading international tourism fairs in China next year. It has planned to arrange visits of Chinese journalists and 200 tourism representatives, as well as to attract 125,000 Chinese travelers to the island next year. Over 35,000 Chinese travelers have visited Sri Lanka during the first 10 months of this year. It is an 85% increase compared to the statistics last year.
Census on deaths, disappearances of people, the disabled and damages to property during the war period is now in the final stage. The Department of Census and Statistics says that it will be completed next week. The census is being conducted on a recommendation made by the Lessons Learned and Reconciliation Commission. Details of deaths, disappearances of people, the disabled and damages to property are being collected from 1982 up to now under this census covering all districts. Around 16,000 people have been deployed to collect data for the census which began on the 25th of last month. 90% of the census in all districts except the western, northern and eastern provinces has been completed. This was disclosed by the Director General of the Census and Statistics Department, Mr. D.C.A. Gunawardena, at a discussion in Vaunia yesterday. The collection of data is being jointly carried out by the Census and Statistics Department and the Public Administration Ministry. Mr. Gunawardena revealed that Sri Lanka is the only country which is carrying out such a streamlined census during the post-war period.
Several government institutions have stepped in to supply fast-moving goods at reasonable prices to consumers during the festive period. The aim is to provide high-quality goods to the people, protecting them from errant traders. A stock of textiles and shoes confiscated at the Sri Lanka Customs is now being sold at Lak Salusala in Javatta at reasonable prices. A 50 to 75% discount will be given to shoppers who purchase these items during the festive period. Local handloom textiles are also being sold at competitive prices. Facilities have been provided to customers to order handloom textiles in accordance with their requirement. There is a high demand for these textiles both in the local and overseas markets. Javatta Lak Salusala is open to the public on all days of the week. Senior Administration Manager of the Javatta Lak Salusala, Daya Hemant De Silva, appealed to customers to take maximum benefit from this opportunity. He added that it will be open until the 10th of January to enable consumers to purchase goods at reasonable prices. The price of goods has reduced during the festive period at Lak Satusa retail outlets countrywide. All necessary items and essential commodities could be purchased at the Lak Satusa mega shopping complexes. Consumers say that they have been provided with an opportunity to purchase essential items under one roof at Lak Satusa outlets. It is a great relief for them, they said. Sri Lanka Fisheries Corporation has announced that it has adequate stocks of fish during the festive period. Facilities have been provided to consumers to purchase fresh fish of good quality and correct weight.
Well, the construction work of the main reservoir at the Uma Oya multi-purpose development project has been launched. The diversion of the Mahatotila Oya towards another way temporarily began recently. The capacity of the main reservoir is over 970,000 cubic meters. The height of the 165-meter bund is 50 meters. The construction work of the 15-meter underground tunnel is now underway using modern machinery. Explosives will not be used when constructing the tunnel. Two reservoirs named Diyaramba and Puhulpola will be built in Bandaravilla and Valimada areas to collect the water flowing through the underground tunnel. The Parab Company of Iran is in charge of the construction work. The Irrigation Department and the Ceylon Electricity Board will supervise the whole project.
Several veteran artists have been felicitated with Kala Bhushan Awards for their great service to Sri Lankan fields of art. The speciality of this award is that it will be presented to an artist once in a lifetime. The Kala Bhushan Award ceremony was held at the Navarangahala of Royal College, Colombo today. The Kala Bhushan Award ceremony was organized by the Ministry of Cultural Affairs. Minister T.B. Ekanayake was the chief guest. 296 Sinhala, Tamil and Muslim veteran artists who are in the age group of over 60 years received Kala Bhushan Awards representing all districts. The aim is to honor their great service rendered to the fields of art and literature. 20 veteran artists who were in the age group of over 80 years also received Kala Bhushan Awards. Cultural Affairs Minister T.B. Ekanayake told the gathering that this award with state emblem cannot be given by any other institution other than the Ministry of Cultural Affairs and the Department of Cultural Affairs. It is a lifetime award for veteran artists. Parliamentarian H.M. Azwa was among the distinguished invitees who attended the ceremony.
A ceremony to present certificates to the first group of rehabilitated former LTT cadres who successfully completed the National Language Training course was held at the Puntottam Rehabilitation Centre in Vaunia yesterday. A program to rehabilitate former LTT cadres was launched by the government after the end of the humanitarian operation in 2009. 11,758 former LTT cadres have been rehabilitated and institutionalized at present. People who surrendered during the humanitarian operation and were apprehended and detained on court orders were among them. Their vocational skills, education and sports talents will be improved during the period of rehabilitation. The government has paid special attention on their language skills as a solution to this problem. The Ministry of National Languages and Integration has launched the National Language Training course. The first group of 50 people received certificates at the ceremony. They were given 3 months residential training on Sinhala language.
A National Early Childhood Care and Development Week has been declared. Special programs will be implemented from the 14th to the 20th of December every year during this week. The national program was launched at a ceremony held in Colombo yesterday under the patronage of Minister Tissa Karlayadda. Yesterday was allocated for policymakers on early childhood development in Sri Lanka. Today is for the Early Childhood Model Village program. The first model village on early childhood development will be built in Kurunagala, Maspatha Divisional Secretariat area. Several daycare centers for children will be established at this village. Tomorrow will be allocated for female supervisors at early childhood development centers, preschool teachers and supervisors of daycare centers. Several programs for parents of children will be conducted next Tuesday. A workshop for officers at regional level will be held on the 18th. Next Thursday is allocated for pregnant mothers and youth groups. The series of programs will come to an end next Friday with the program for children in early childhood.
Sri Lanka parliamentarians team has clinched the 2013 Speaker's Trophy, beating Minister's team in a friendly annual encounter played at Torrington Sports Ministry grounds in Colombo today. Minister's team was the runner-up. The annual cricket encounter was organized by the Sports Ministry and the National Youth Services Council with the aim of promoting unity, brotherhood and cordiality among government and opposition MPs. The match between MP's team and Minister's team began this morning following a ceremony chaired by Speaker Chamal Rajapaksa. Opposition leader Ranil Wickremesinghe was among the spectators. Sports Minister Mahindananda Aluthkamage led Minister's team. Ravi Karunanayake was the captain of Parliament parliamentarians' team. MP's team won the toss and invited the minister's team to bat first. They scored 198 runs, with Minister Indika Bandaranaike top scoring with 73 runs. He hit 9 sixes and 2 fours. Minister Johnston Fernando made a solid 32 runs with 4 sixes and 1 four. Minister Premlal Jayasekara scored 34, while Minister Wimal Weeramansa chipped in with 21. Parliamentarian Namal Rajapaksa bowled best for MP's team, claiming 3 for 37. In reply, Nalin Bandara of MP's team scored a brilliant 89 runs with 10 sixes and 2 fours. Harin Fernando made 48, hitting 3 sixes and 4 fours. Namal Rajapaksa, who came late in the batting order, displayed his prowess in batting, scoring a quick-fire 18 with 2 sixes. Indika Bandaranaike and Premlal Jayasekara took 2 wickets each. MP's team scored 204 runs in 18.1 overs, winning the match. MP Harin Fernando was adjudged as the best bowler. Parliamentarian Namal Rajapaksa received the award for the best bowler, while Minister Indika Bandaranaike received the award for the best batsman. Parliamentarian Nalin Bandara, who scored 89 runs, was adjudged man of the match.
හොඳම පන්දු යවන්නා ලෙස සම්මාන ලැබුවා. හොඳම සම්මානයේ හිමි වුණේ ලකුණු 89ක් රැස් කළ පාර්ලිමේන්තු මන්ත්‍රී නලින් බණ්ඩාර මහතාට.
With sports news, we conclude our night's news bulletin together with Nitya and Sharifa, which were very pleasant.
Good night.